Cemetery meditation. One of the foundations of mindfulness is being mindful of the body. The body is the first of four subjects for the practice of mindfulness, the others being feelings, mental states, and Dharma. The Buddha recommends being mindful of the body for the reason that the tendency to cherish and identify with the body or to deny the reality of death and the fragility of the body can be counteracted. Within this foundation of mindfulness, one type of meditation practice is cemetery meditation.
Il y a toujours, après la mort de quelqu'un, une espèce de stupéfaction, il est si difficile de comprendre cet avènement du néant et de s'y résigner. Gustave Flaubert.
As the French writer Gustave Flaubert said, there is always after the death of anyone a kind of stupefaction. So difficult is it to grasp this advent of nothingness and to resign ourselves to believe in it. It is very difficult to observe or contemplate a dead body, even more so to reflect on the decay of our own body after death. However, practicing contemplation on a dead body is a powerful way to help cultivate detachment from the self. This practice serves as a reminder of impermanence, the absence of a permanent self, and the inevitability of death, thereby reducing attachment to the body and ego. The Buddha says, again, Bhikkhus, as though he were to see a corpse thrown aside in a charnel ground, 1, 2, or 3 days, dead, bloated, livid, and oozing matter, a bhikkhu compares this same body with it thus. This body too is of the same nature, it will be like that, it is not exempt from that fate. Cemetery meditation is a form of meditation in which practitioners reflect on the impermanence of life by contemplating the body's decay. The practice has its roots in early Buddhist traditions, particularly in the context of mindfulness and the contemplation of death. In this meditation, you typically imagine a cemetery or a charnel ground where dead bodies are left to decompose. The idea is to observe and meditate on the various stages of decay that a body goes through after death. This helps to cultivate an understanding of the impermanence of the body and life, reducing attachment to the physical form and fostering a deeper sense of detachment from material existence. The purpose of cemetery meditation is not to generate fear or disgust, but rather to develop mindfulness of the body's true nature, its fragility, and its inevitable decay. It encourages practitioners to reflect upon the impermanence of life. All living things will eventually die and decay. Cemetery meditation encourages practitioners to reflect upon three important things. First, the impermanence of life, second, the unattractiveness of the body, and, third, death as a reminder. There are 9 contemplations on the 9 stages or states of physical decay after death. First, the bloated, discolored, and pus-filled state. This stage occurs within a day or two after death. The body will bloat, discolor, become blue, and ooze. The first contemplation of the 9 cemetery contemplations is to investigate such a dead body with wisdom and mindfulness and relate it to our lives in this way. This body of mine too will become like this. Second, the partially consumed state. The second stage of the deterioration of a dead body lasts about a week after the first stage. A strong and unpleasant smell emanated from the body attracts animals. Vultures, crows, and other scavengers tear apart the body, devouring it. The body transforms, becoming unrecognizable from what it once was. This contemplation invites us to observe this stage with wisdom and mindfulness, reflecting on our own lives in this way. This body of mine, too, will one day become like this. Third, the dismembered state. The body is now unrecognizable, broken into pieces, with parts of bone visible. The third contemplation of the 9 cemetery contemplations is to investigate this stage with wisdom and mindfulness, and relate it to our lives in this way. This body of mine will also become like this. Fourth, the bloodstained state. At this stage, the body has no flesh, and traces of dried blood remain on the now visible bones. There are no flies, worms, or carrion eaters, it is just a skeleton without flesh. Now, you should investigate this stage and relate it to our lives in this manner. This body of mine, too, will become like this. Fifth, the state where tendons still connect the bones. The traces of blood have disappeared, leaving only a partial skeleton with dried sinews here and there. Now, we should investigate this stage. The fifth contemplation of the 9 cemetery contemplations is to investigate this stage with wisdom and mindfulness, and relate it to our lives in this way. This body of mine will also become like this. Sixth, the scattered remains state. The skull would be in one place, the ribs scattered about, the clavicles elsewhere, and the bones of the arms and fingers would be spread around. The pelvic bones would be to one side, and the bones of the legs and feet would be in other places. The dead body would be reduced to a jumble of scattered bones. The sixth contemplation of the 9 cemetery contemplations is to investigate this stage with wisdom and mindfulness, and relate it to our lives in this way. This body of mine will also become like this. Seventh, the white bones state. The bones, now scattered, become bleached to the color of a conch shell. The seventh contemplation of the 9 cemetery contemplations is to investigate this stage with wisdom and mindfulness, and relate it to your life in this manner. This body of mine, too, will become like this. Eighth, the aged bones stage. A few years after death, the bones break into small pieces and lose any identity. The eighth contemplation of the 9 cemetery contemplations is to investigate this stage with wisdom and mindfulness, and relate it to your life in this manner. This body of mine, too, will become like this. Ninth, the bone dust state. The bones are reduced to fragments, turned to dust, and mixed with the earth. The 9th contemplation of the 9 cemetery contemplations is to investigate this stage with wisdom and mindfulness, and relate it to your life in this way. This body of mine, too, will become like this. The practitioner contemplates the fact that nobody has transcended this fate. They relate the 9 stages of the deterioration of the dead body on the charnel ground to his life in this manner. Everyone will become like this. The dead body on the charnel ground has undergone a massive change in a very short period of time. During this brief period, roughly 60 to 80 years in this life, we struggle to maintain this body because we have no true understanding of it. A wise person, however, chooses to live this life with understanding. Here is a link to an article written by Venerable Bhikkhu Sona in 1996. It describes the stages of cemetery meditation and includes photos of the body's decay process. Although these images are difficult to view and reflect upon in the context of our own mortality, I believe they are a valuable aid in the practice of mindfulness.